Welcome back. It's Christopher Taylor with Sovereign Harmony up on the hill. I'm out a day early. Today's Saturday, October 4th. We're going to do the astrology for October 5th through the 11th. So that's the whole week coming up. And we've got a big old full moon in Aries coming up Monday night into Tuesday and a couple other things going on. So hope everybody is doing okay. It's a nice day today. It's been foggy the last several mornings I'm out of here, but it's actually pretty clear. It's going to probably be a pretty decent day today. Kind of chilly this morning. Starting to feel that October air even here in Southern California. But anyway, so full moon, Aries, not really aspecting too much. It's kind of bringing in the Chiron in Aries, squaring Jupiter in Cancer, which is going to be coming up. I mentioned that last week. That's coming up for mid to late October, and then again in December. That's that goo phase, that chrysalis phase in between the caterpillar and the butterfly, where we're at here in between these eclipses, from this previous eclipses in September to the ones coming up in February, March. Okay. So this full moon's kind of bringing that in. It's a very raw, very courageous energy. Okay, there's a sense of just saying, like, fuck it, putting ourselves out there. Okay, that's really Aries. Aries is very raw. It's very in your face. It's very no nonsense, no sugarcoating. Okay, and with Mars, the ruler of Aries, in Scorpio right now, there is a real sense that this rawness is going deep. Okay, so there's a sense of going very deep with this courage, with this rawness, and saying, it's like metaphorically naked, essentially, saying, I don't even care. Like, this is what I am. This is who I am. This is what I bring. Okay. Not caring. Okay. And so part of that, though, it brings up what has ever prevented us from being in that pure state. Right. So that's part of that Mars diving into Scorpio energy. And in addition to this happening, Mercury is also in Scorpio for this full moon, and it will be squaring Pluto, which is a co-ruler of Scorpio. Okay, so we've got Mars, which rules Aries and Scorpio. Pluto is another ruler of Scorpio, and that is aspecting another planet in Scorpio. So strong Scorpio energy with this Aries full moon. So we are getting extremely raw, extremely real with this energy here this week and the coming couple weeks or so. Okay, so what is it in us that really needs to just be out there? No more hiding. That's really what this has to do with. And on a collective level, we could see that reflected in, certain events happening that just reveal everything, make it very clear what has always been going on, essentially. Okay. And so be aware of those kind of epiphanies, but we're ready for them right now. Okay. And then after this, actually, in addition to this energy going on this week, we will also have Venus on the Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. It will be sextiling Jupiter in Cancer before it opposes Saturn in Pisces later in the week, about Friday, Saturday time frame. Okay, and so just like this full moon is bringing in that square between Chiron and Aries and Jupiter in Cancer, that's going to be with us in October and then again in December. This Venus in Virgo, with that sextile to Jupiter and then the subsequent opposition to Saturn in Pisces, that is essentially going to bring in the energy for November, which is this trine between Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn in Pisces. Okay, so that's going to be not exact, but it's going to come within 1 degree orb for all of November, really, starting the later days of October to the early days of December. So about a 5-week period. And so this week kind of brings that in with that Venus in Virgo stimulating Jupiter and Saturn. So what that has to do with is really Venus in Virgo is all about valuing our familiar habits, valuing order, organization. Okay. And so that sextile to Jupiter in Cancer, there's a sense of expanding into more of that. But then the opposition to Saturn is saying, if we're going to do that, you've got to get rid of this. Saturn in Pisces, late degrees of Pisces, is about endings. And so what habits do we have to get rid of if you want to expand into new comfort zones when it comes to organization and habits? So new habits, essentially, developing new ways of being in the world. Okay. And so that's going to be a theme again in November when Jupiter trines Saturn. There's a sense of things just coming together naturally behind the scenes. Okay. This sense of being supported by our lives, by the universe, etc., from a behind the scenes sense. So almost like we have no control over it, but we're being, protected by God, if you want to say. Okay. And so this is bringing that in. So we're getting some inklings of what we do day to day and what we can shift in what we do day to day to better be supported by God, the universe, or whatever we want to refer it to as. Okay, so again, pretty intense full moon, not as big as the eclipses we just had, of course, but with that Aries energy, that fire, that sense of rawness, and then that diving deep into Scorpio, it can be a pretty intense awakening. We could be ready to just put ourselves out there, just say, screw it, I'm doing this, even if I don't know the results that are going to come from it. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. We'll keep it nice and short this week. So join me again next week up on the hill. We'll talk about especially more about that Jupiter Chiron square that's coming into play for the rest of October. And hopefully we're doing okay in between these eclipses. And if you have any questions, let me know. If you're interested in a personal reading where these planets fall in your chart, etc., do reach out. And other than that, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your week, and we'll see you next time.